I found this plant on the side of the road or the sidewalk, whatever. It was in like one of those concrete barriers that they have where the trees are potted or planted. And somebody had, I guess the super had just found it in the garbage and planted it inside that soil. So I couldn't leave it there because it was really pretty and it was in soil and it was gonna die. So I took it out, brought it home, and this is the video where I am not restoring it, but kind of like bringing it back to life, giving it the nutrients it needs. And then all the way at the end, it has been about 2 weeks now since I repotted. His name is Frank. No, his name is Hector. Can't do that. His name is Hector. Have my pot is a ceramic pot, as you guys can see on the bottom. Right down here, it's ceramic. I put some stems and some old stems from some orchids. I'll show you guys in a minute. And some bark in there. So that's all that's inside of here right now. So guys, here she is. You don't want to put the orchid potting much too far because, you know. So here she is. So here's something I don't know if you guys did know before or not, but orchids don't go in soil. So it's part of the process. You take her out, take out all of that moss. Look at that, that's a baby orchid stem. Yeah. Or maybe not, that looks like a seed of some sort. And then you just go, you kind of just break it apart. It was sitting in soil when I found her, so a lot of these roots are going to be dried and burned. And it's sad. It's a beautiful plant. But, like the little nest that it makes, it's a little weird. And it's kind of cool, you can see how many pots she's been in. Why this? So that's one pot that they had before. And then as you saw, that clump that was all pressed together, that's the second pot. So whoever had this before didn't know that they were supposed to repot it because her roots were getting too big for that pot. So they probably just ended up seeing her getting sad, and instead of caring for her, it was just easier to throw away. So here we go to the root core. The oldest one, it's going to be very fragile. I'm using a lot of my underhand here to just pull it apart, as you can see here. I'll show you what it looks like from the bottom. This is just like a circular ball of moss where she feeds from. And all those white stems, those all gotta go. All of them gotta go. Not too many green ones on here except for these on top. It's probably because I've been watering her the past 2 or 3 days. And no, when I got her, just as a point of reference, when I got her home, I did not instantly start like pruning her and getting her ready for a new pot. I wanted her to get acclimated to the new space, and she was in soil. I wanted to take her out of that. Even now, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge for her. She's still going to be, well, she's stressed already because of this. But this will help to get her acclimated to the new apartment, to her new space. And then once she's a little acclimated, then I come in and check her roots, water her, give her a little bit of extra care. Look, see, all of these are completely dried out. There's still a little bit of life in that one, but not much. So I like to make sure she's almost completely clean. So you can tell this is where most of her water source is coming from. This bunch that's right here in my hand, that's where most of her water and nutrients we're feeding her from. The rest of it is pretty much dry as a bone. Look, this is part of the original clump that she had, which I never really throw this out. The roots, the old dry ones, yeah, I'll take those out. Some people don't, I do. I like my moss to just be moss because it's not always for the orchids. 90% of it is though. Alright. There you go. Alright, now we gotta layer down. So now this is the part that always hurts the most. Because you gotta come in with a clean pair of scissors. That's actually... There's not much peroxide in there. That's peroxide, but peroxide just helps to clean and sterilize whatever you're gonna use. And so you just go through it. And you see what's broken off, what's frayed. Everything that comes off at a light touch or feels dry to the bone, snip it off. Now, I'm not telling you guys to go ahead and do this with you guys' plants. This is just what I do with mine. And again, this was a rescue, so I don't feel too bad because otherwise she was gonna die. So, let's be very careful. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing here. I'm gonna try to move this up a little bit. Yeah, there you go. That's a good root, but it's going bad. So this is what you want to remove. Like I'd say from here, you see that little split right there? Or with a point. That is what you want to get in there between those. Snip, gone. No more bad root. See this one, it's kind of green, but then it's kind of dry over there, so it's going to go bad, but it hasn't as of yet. Same thing with this one. These gotta go, well this from here does. Snip. Oh, look at this. Snip. Keep coming back to you, so you gotta go. Sorry, I'm so sorry, baby girl. But I kept coming back to you, which tells me that something was wrong there. This one snipped. We're just gonna snip. You're okay. Now we flip her over. And I want you guys to look at something. You see these? These are the little nodes. Bring her up a little bit closer. Ooh. Sorry, we ran out of light. So these are like the little nodes. This is where the stems are gonna grow from. And sometimes it's not just stems, sometimes it's air roots. I'm gonna cut them off. Oop, nobody knows where that went. And then this one, it's probably the one that went dry, the reason why they threw it away. You cut that one off as well. You see? Little stems of an old plant. And so this is just a haircut phase. And you're still going through the roots. You see all those little hairs, you can leave them. These black ones I always take off because that signs of rot. Anything that's rotting has to go. Okay. And I think she looks good. Let's do a little bit of black in there. Let's snip. This one's gone. Snip. Hear that sound? That's a hollow root. Snip it right before its point, because it's going to continue to go bad, and it's just going to continue to die off and kill off the plant. Well, not kill off the plant, but it's not going to feed. And you don't want anything on your plant that's going to take energy away from it producing new leaves and producing new stems. So you want to get rid of all of that because that's wasted energy. This one's going to go halfway. And I think we're completely done, guys. So we didn't take too many roots off, as you can see. It's not too bad of a pile, especially because, all right, let's clean it off a little bit. It's all part of the moss. A couple of the root ends. All right, now back in the picture. So yeah, it's a couple, but this is what's gonna help her thrive, because now she's not gonna focus on these. So these, garbage. Just like this, garbage. Now we have some fresh, well, under here, we have some fresh moss. You can tell it's fresh because of its shape. It's gonna hold like a weird, I don't really know what kind of, how to describe the shape. Sorry guys, I'm trying to show you something really tiny. But the texture of it is a little bit, it's like flakier, as you guys can see. It's like a flakier and this one's like, well, that's part of this one. See how this one, it's older, so it's like dusty, not flaky. So this older one is the one that I would use there. Let's switch out the pot so you guys can see the top down view. So I have a layer of the Orchid potting mix. The Orchid potting mix. Just about a third of the way down, and then I like to add a nice little handful of moss. Break it up, take out whatever sticks, twigs, sometimes get lost in there, and then I'll start mixing it up with the there you go. A nice healthy mix. See? So you have a little bit of moss, you have a little bit of wood. The moss is just gonna keep the plant nice and moist because that's what she was in originally, so I want to keep her in that. But I also want to add wood, the wood chips, which is where they grow naturally. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. It's trying to make its way back. I don't know what this is, but I'll plant you. Not in here though. It's in your home. So the wood's just gonna give it more of a natural feel. Plus it has a, what's it called? What are these things called? Fertilizers. Jesus Christ. So put her in, make sure her roots are nice and comfortable. You don't want to overcrowd her too much. And then I just start breaking it up and adding it into there. And I might have to do this depending on how the other girls are doing. I might have to do this with them as well. Just because I think they might be missing a little bit of moss, so they might need a little bit more. So I want to make sure to get them enough, filled with enough nutrients, aka fertilizers, minerals. And little by little, you just start packing her back in. Get some more roots over here. See how she's still a little wobbly? That means she doesn't have enough compression. Well, you don't want to compress, but you want to make sure she's comfortable in there. Not that you're squeezing her down, because if you start squeezing, then what's going to happen is her roots are going to start to get squished. And that is not what we want. Oh, sorry. You want to position her correctly, tuck in the ones in the corners. That'll help to give it a little bit of position on the sides. Excuse me. And in there. Now we're going to pack out that side. Now same thing. Now you're just pushing it into the sides. With your finger, you're kind of feeling where the roots are, and you're trying to like just make space so that they can flow in. And then on the other side, you do the same. And you're just kind of packing her in, making sure she's comfortable. Making sure she's standing nice and straight and tall. And that's pretty much it, guys. For me, I like to add a handful of the wood chips. One, because I think they look nice, especially because this is where the plant comes from. And two, again, it has fertilizer, so it's going to help feed them, especially since the journey that it's had, it's going to need a little bit of that extra food, so to say. Typically do this on the floor. That's why if I look like I'm struggling, that's why. Typically lay out a tarp, but I wanted to get fancy today and I wanted to pull out a top view camera. So you see how she's kind of sagging over here? That just tells me that this side where the leaf is under here, there's not enough of this moss. which you could just come right in, make sure to pack it into the sides, try to feel around for the root, try to avoid any of them, and then if you see, it doesn't wobble as much. Again, another handful of, here we go, handful of wood chips, and then pack them down into the edge. And then the ones that sit on top on the surface, they kind of just sit freely, but towards the edge, over on these corners, oh, you guys can even see, over on these corners, like around here and around here, I'd pack them in so that they all kind of just hold each other in. But on the other sides, they're mostly free. Yeah, and that's pretty much it, guys. I left the empty spot. Yes, I did. Tuck that in right under there. See, I'm gonna need a little bit more. This was one of the weaker sides, so it would make sense that it wasn't packed in too well. And that's it, guys. There she goes. All done. Now we just have to water her, guys. So, follow me. So I forgot to tell you guys, this is why we're back. This is gonna go over here for the moment, excuse me. And then, sometimes I just wanted to show you guys a quick cleanup. As you can see, this is a little bit of a mixed variety in here, and you have even some of that stuff. That's fine, that's all fine. Guess why? Because you're gonna need this again. So instead of like trying to go over, like go crazy, just grab a bucket, and every time you pot, you just put it together. And you know, this, for the most part, 90% of it is ready to go brand new. Because that's the leftover that I had from when I repotted Calliope and Olivia and the other girls. Now this is the wood chips that I used for this young lady that we have to name. So I'm counting on you guys to help out. All right, water. And here we are in my kitchen, and there she is. I don't know what to name her, and this is bothering me. I really need you guys' help. So now we're just gonna water her. So this is the way I typically like to water them once I repot them. That's the second. So I'm just taking just time. Let's try that again. Just lukewarm water, just like room temperature. And so I'll just water all the way. I won't let the faucet hit her. Well, the leaves I will, not the medium that you just put down. Because then it's going to start to fly all over the place. Water. See how she's doing? That's what I want to see. So now she gets to sit in there for about 15 minutes. I'll extend her leaves out. Or the ones that want to extend, because I'm not going to force her. Because no is no, guys. And that's pretty much it. Then we just place her with our other girls. Alright. Check you guys out in a minute.